Hey, I'm Stacy with New Creations by Stacy. I'm the owner and artist. Happy New Year, everybody. If you guys are just popping on, just say hey, where you're watching from. I'm actually here in Alabama. I'm an elite Dixie Belle retailer at the Rustic Willow in Ardmore, so you can find me locally there. I do also still have my location in Madison as well. And I'm just going to give it a sec, make sure that I am showing up as being live. And I think so. I see a couple people popping on. We should have Dixie Belle here with us as well. Ah, perfect. There we go. So I'll be able to see comments now. All right. So just a couple things before we get started. We're going to be painting this vanity here. But in the description, I do have all of the colors that we're going to be using tonight, as well as I do have a link to my Facebook page if you can like and follow me there. If you're a retailer and watching, definitely please post the link to your business page. So if anybody watching, they can find you. You can also click the affiliate link in the description to find your local retailer. And then if you did want to order any product online, you can also order through the affiliate link as well. So we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to pay attention and answer any questions as we go, but if I miss anything, I will go back after the live and do that. You guys, I'm in Alabama again, and we do not get snow here. Literally, we started off the year at upper 70s, tornado watches, and then now 2 days later we have I think it's 6 to 8 inches of snow they said that we got. It's crazy. I can't believe it. But anyway, and all my kids that are north of here, none of them got snow, just us, and we never get it. But anyway, so on to that. I've got the comments up again. I lost it for a second here. But I want to show you guys first. So last week we did the window with AJ's transfer. It's got a little bit of a glare on it, but this is it. I just got the hardware. I was out of the hardware, so I just got it and put it on yesterday. So I haven't had a chance to post pictures, but this is what we did. Let me see if I can switch the lighting. This is what we did last week. So if you missed that video, you can see it. But you can see how the window turned out, and it layered in beautifully. And again, this is AJ's Vintage Designs, Wildflowers and Butterflies. So quickly, I just wanted to show you guys that before I pop you down and we start painting the vanity. But I will have the video posted on my page as well as final pictures. Hey, Teresa. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of talk about, I'm going to bring you guys down so you can see the vanity. And we're just going to kind of talk about, oh, I know, I love it. And it layered so beautifully. You know, some transfers, they're a little bit transparent. But this one did not lose any of its vibrancy. Super opaque. You couldn't see the other layers underneath. It was just gorgeous. So tonight, like I said, we're going to be doing a blend on this vanity, and we're prepping this vanity to use. I'm so excited about the new transfers, you guys, but I love transfers. Hey, Jerry. All right, so we're going to be prepping this to use the Retro Peacock Transfer here, and I'll take it out so you can kind of see what's in here. We're going to be doing the transfer part next Monday at 6. Oh, hey, Jeannie. Is it your first time watching, or you just haven't used the transfers before? All right, so this is part of what the transfer looks like. And it is kind of a retro, definitely a retro design. This isn't really a retro piece, but I think I'm going to be able to pull it together with some updated hardware and everything like that. So you guys will see it. It'll be done live. So hopefully we'll be successful. So our base colors that we're going to be using tonight are going to be Bunker Hill Blue, which is just this gorgeous blue color. The bottom leg here, that's the pure Bunker Hill. And then we're going to be blending it with some antebellum, which I've got the antebellum here. And you guys, I also just got I just got a new puppy. So she might be a bit talkative. Hopefully not too much. But we're going to be blending that with some antebellum. And then we're also going to be highlighting with some kudzu, which is really a pretty green color that's in this Retro Transfer as well. So on this piece, this was a super, super heavy bleeder. So I did go, even though I was going with a darker color, I didn't want to have risk any bleed through going through the transfer or anything like that. So I did do 2 coats of a clear boss on here before I got started. I also filled my holes with, and you can actually see because I filled these before I put the boss on, and my mud is pink now. But I filled it with the white Dixie mud, so that's all done. 2 coats of boss to avoid any bleed through. And then now we're just going to be putting, this is just 1 coat of our blend that we're going to be doing tonight on here. So let me go ahead and get set up. Oh, did she run by? I saw, hey Tammy. She could have. I'm trying to teach her not to play in here just because I have one other dog too, and they walk through the paint if they play in here. And the other day she ran through the stripper, so trying to keep her good. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Philippa from Australia. Good morning. So I'm just putting some of my colors out on a paper plate here. So this is our Bunker Hill Blue. And then we've got antebellum, which this antebellum is one of my favorites. Let's see here. So we're just putting some antebellum on here. You can kind of see the difference there. And we're just going to be using a little bit of the kudzu. Oh, hold on. I've got to get it open. Oh, and by the way, I've actually, and I don't think you can see it, but I'm going to try to push in these drawers a little bit. Let me get my spoon from up here. Well, actually, I've lost my spoon somewhere, which is not uncommon. So I've got tons of these little transfer sticks, so I'm just going to use it to stir up my kudzu. And then we're just going to drop a little bit on the plate. I'm not using as much of the kudzu, so I don't need too much of that. But we'll just kind of set this out and off to the side. Oh, I see my spoon. Of course I found it just as soon as I used this little stick here. So how's the weather where everybody's at today? Is it just us in Alabama that's crazy? I mean, literally I think the news said it was 79 degrees. So we went from 79 to, I think, down to, well, I don't know. I know it was in the low 30s, I think 23 or something like that. And that's a huge shift. All right, perfect. So I've got these ready to go. And I've so one other thing that I forgot to mention here, and I have to be careful with these drawers because they are the kind that go in, so it's hard to pull them out since I've filled the holes. But I've put some Would You Bend molding on here. It's the flourishes. And then I also, down here, you can see the bottom here, I have 2 rows of the wide Would You Bend trim. Down here, I had to take off the veneer. It was kind of damaged. So on this surface, like I said, I have 2 coats of clear emboss, so it is pretty porous. It almost feels like, if you feel it, it almost feels like I've chalk painted it. So, yeah, and probably completely off for Texas. I used to, I was stationed at Fort Hood a long time ago, a long time ago. And I think we only saw snow once the whole time I was there. And it was less than an inch, but everything shut down. Everything. So we're going to go ahead. I'm not pushing these. Normally I would push these all the way in to paint them. But like I said, I had some issues getting them out. I don't want to use the Big Mama's butter until the very end because it's oil-based. It'll cause some issues if I would get any on the outside and not clean it off. So I definitely want to keep this on here. Also, I forgot to say, because this is just what you do with every single piece, I did clean this piece with White Lightning first, rinse it really well with water. So to start off with, I've kind of been using the same brush, and I'm pretty much just laying out my colors a little bit, and I want to kind of use the sides here as a guide to where I want to put my paint out. I'm going to go ahead and bring this drawer out a little bit further. I'll clean up the sides later. But let's see here. So on the trim, I've got, and by the way, I'm starting with a wet brush. My brush is wet, but I do want to go ahead and keep misting it because I don't want to, at this point, mist my piece yet. So I'm just going to kind of start adding the colors kind of where I want them to be, kind of keeping in mind what I have on the outside, because I did have to, in this case, I did have to take the drawers out in order to paint that frame, and we'll get to that on the other side. But right now, I've just got the Antebellum and the Bunker Hill Blue that I'm kind of bringing together here. It's really, like I said, my surface is pretty porous. It's not like I'm going straight onto the wood. I'm using the same brush. I'm just bringing a little Antebellum in on the side here. I don't want too much of the kudzu, but I do want more of the kudzu on this drawer probably than any of the other drawers. Oh yes, here she comes wandering through. She's 7 pounds. She's just so sweet. Super energetic though. So I'm just kind of bringing my colors together. I'm using the same brush, so it's pretty easy. So this is drying up a little bit. I'm going to mist it lightly. And I'm lightly, very lightly, just running my brush over this. This is my first coat. I just really kind of want to see how this color comes together and lay it out a little bit. Doing a little dry brush on that side. Kind of just want to see the color. Put a little bit more of the Bunker Hill down here. And I love the way all of these blend together because it's really giving me a subtle change with several different colors in it, just not the 3 that I'm blending here. Probably on the second coat, I'm going to lighten this up some. I'm going to go ahead and just keep my brush misted down. I want it pretty wet there. So on this bottom drawer, I'm probably going to do a little bit more blue, a little higher at the sides. And again, I'm laying my colors out. So the colors may not be exactly where I want them to be in the end. I may, I'm going to use this to kind of decide more so the look that I want. And I'm going with Antebellum now. That was the Bunker Hill Blue that I put on first there. I'm going to bring that Antebellum all the way down in the middle. And because I'm using the same brush, I'm really mixing up my colors a lot on my piece here. And it just makes it a little bit easier to blend. Kind of just lost the comments, so let me see if I can get those back. Oh, thanks, Wanda. Hey, Marianne. Oh, hey, Karen. Oh, you guys say a prayer for Karen. She's just had her 4th ankle surgery. She paints furniture too. She's a vendor here locally. So say a prayer that they've fixed it this time. Let's see here. So I'm going to put in, and I painted the whole thing, but I want to bring in some of this kudzu, lighten it up, coming up towards the top middle maybe. So my color is really mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a blending brush in this last section. And I'm going to kind of go in different directions so I can really bring that together. You guys, I'm not sure exactly how I want this to look either. I don't know if I want it to be streaky or if I want it to be a more cloudy, kind of blended in look. So I'm kind of doing a few different things. I just want to get a good idea. This is the drawer that's really, the only one that's really, really tricky right there. But, so we can see how that's coming out so far. What do you guys think? Oh, hey, Trish. Yes, Happy New Year. Oh, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to pull out this drawer a little bit. For the most part, I think I'm going to end up doing this drawer mostly blue. Oh, hey, Wanda. So this drawer in here, I think I may do some would you bend molding up there. Or I haven't decided. I think I might try to take some of the peacock feathers and make some kind of design, maybe some kind of centerpiece, maybe even incorporate that with the would you bend. I don't know. I'm just kind of, I don't know what I want to do with it, but something. So the coverage, I'm getting really good coverage with this, but I will, you can definitely tell, like where I filled with the white, you can see, and I've got a mist on my brush because I can feel my paint sticking a little bit. You can see like where it's a little bit white, and that's just because of the wood is dark, so it's given it a little bit of shading because this first coat is really relatively thin. Just gonna bring these together. I think I'm gonna, you know what? I think I'm gonna do the green maybe up here a little bit. I know I'm gonna do some kind of design in there. I don't know what it is. Hopefully I'll figure it out by the second coat. But that's why I'm putting these highlights over here, because if I do go with some type of molding in the middle, I want that to be a little bit darker around the molding. So that's kind of why I left it dark right there. Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. I really love the hardware for this piece. I just feel like it doesn't fit with the Retro Peacock design. So I'm thinking I've got these little knob bars that I think I'm going to use. But the original hardware, the oval shape, has some really nice feather looking things inside of it. Actually thinking about sticking that, making it into a molding, and then somehow using these feathers to come out. Which when I put that on next week, I'll probably have that figured out so you guys will be able to see what we do there. All right, so on here, I'm going to go ahead and paint. Yeah, let me go ahead and paint these drawers right quick, then I'll take them out. You'll really be able to see the would you bend then, and we'll move on there. Kind of see how this comes together. So since I haven't done the frame yet on this, I'm probably just going to try to stick with the same kind of way that I put the color on over here on the other side. Like I said, the second coat is more important for bringing that together. This, I just want to make sure that I'm laying out my color. And let's bring this down here. And basically the main thing is I want to keep my color light on the center of the drawer, but I'm also bringing in the shading that I have coming around from the side. So I'm trying to be watchful of that as well. Put a little bit of kudzu on here to brighten that up. I love how this kudzu blends in with the antebellum. So I'm going to come back with this blending brush because my colors are getting pretty mixed up on my one paintbrush. So when I don't want to bring that in anymore, I just bring in the blending brush and really soften it up. I'm going over this very lightly with my blending brush because I want to keep it smooth, keep out any brush strokes, and really mix them together. So when I'm doing this, I'm just kind of taking that excess color off my brush for the next time that I come in to blend. I won't be bringing extra colors on here. Hey, Judy, how are you? It's been so long since I've seen you on here. I saw your buffet. It was gorgeous. All right, so same thing. We're coming in with the Bunker Hill Blue. This kind of, and I'm kind of coming in on the top and the bottom of the drawer here because I've got that molding that you'll see in just a minute here. When you say an overlay, do you mean like, what is the overlay on it? Do you mean like it's laminate, or do you mean like it has an inlay where it's got like the, design, or? So I'm just coming in with the antebellum here. And because my brush is so wet, it's still blending, it's still pulling these colors together. Put a lot of extra green there, and that's fine. And like I said, I'm still kind of experimenting on how I want this to lay. So again, I'm going to come in. This is the mini. I've been using the round small, but I'm going to come in with the mini and bring these colors really together. So that's why I'm going in several different directions. Now I'm actually lightening up so that I can get all of those little brush strokes out. I'm not really pulling the color together there. I'm just smoothing it out. Yes, this is chalk paint. It is, and this, Lisa asked if this was chalk paint. It is. It's CMP. It's the Bunker Hill Blue, antebellum, and kudzu. So we're going to go ahead. We've got this last drawer here, and we're doing really good on time. Usually I do a lot of different things, so I really don't get to do a lot of painting on here. So this is kind of nice. So what's everybody working on for the new year? For me, it's always like a time for fun projects. I always want to do really colorful stuff. I don't know. I don't like winter. It's like winter barely got started, but I still ready for spring. So I always just want to bring it in with the furniture colors. And I'm not doing the exact same thing on here. Like I said, I just want to see kind of what I like best. I'm going to bring this up into the corner, see if maybe I like something like that a little bit better. This is all going to work together, and whenever I do the second coat, and on that one, I'll miss my piece more than just my brush. But on that one, I will really know, actually I kind of like this, I'll really know how I want to lay out my colors. And this will, even though the drawers are different on the first coat, it will It'll create a beautiful layered effect. It'll give it more depth. When this is all said and done, I'll probably be doing a black wax. I kind of actually like that a little bit. I could bring this down, kind of center it in, depending on how I'm going to run the transfers. But you see, I did actually end up painting these drawers different with the highlights. I know, right, Thelma? She said she's local too, and like I said, we are not used to snow. Let's see the original colors. Yeah. You know, certain colors, Kathy said, well, first, actually, let me go back to Thelma, sorry. Yeah, I know with the snow, it's really pretty, but I don't want it to stick around. And I'm good with it just, you know, once a year, once every 10 years, something like that. I lived in Alaska for 3 years, and that just, enough of snow. All right, so this kind of gives you guys a better view of the Would You Bin trim that I added down here, as well as this up here. So for what she said about coming out with a new, like a whole new color, and the colors not being so separate, really my colors are not separate either. That kudzu is a super, like, you know, look at this up here. That kudzu is a super bright green. And that's like a whole new color too. So when I want like a specific color, but I want a really soft blend. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to blend, but I want a really soft blend, but I want two very specific colors. If it's colors, I try to go lighter. Or if it's like a black and a white, I try to use an art brush for my dark color and mostly just like an oval medium or something like that for my light color so that I can keep them a little bit more separate. Oh yeah, you can definitely paint over that. Easily. Veneer, this has veneer as well. I actually removed the veneer from down here, so the wood underneath was a little bit rough. So that's why I ended up creating these borders down here. But you can paint over the veneer. Like this has a layer of veneer on it up here. I stripped it and I'm kind of sanded it down a little bit. I haven't decided 100% what I'm going to do with it. Thinking about streaking it with terracotta and then putting an oil-based stain over it, which sounds a little crazy, but in my head, I think it might work in my head. Anyway, let me get back to painting. So you guys can probably see the front of this finished. So on the feet, and you guys can see how little paint I'm using here. I've painted all the drawers and I still have plenty of paint. So on the feet, I'm just painting those all the way in the Bunker Hill blue. And I really like these small rounds when I'm doing areas like this, because these paintbrushes hold a ton of paint. And this particular size on legs like this, it just fits in here nicely, the right amount of paint. It gives me good coverage without having to have too much paint on here, lots of brush strokes, nothing like that, just so I can do a nice thin coat without too much work. So in this section here, and this is wet because I have used it today, but I'm going to mist it down. This is the French tip brush, and you can see how it has that nice point on it. I'm going to use that to get into this molding. Because with all this intricate detail, you want good coverage. I do that all the time too. I do it when I'm talking on the phone. Jeannie said she was shaking her head like I could see her. And when someone's talking to me and they're on a live, I do the same thing. And when I'm on the phone, I shake my head too. Anyway, so all I'm doing is I'm going around in circles, just kind of trying to push the paint into the details. And the reason that I keep this brush wet is because when the paint is thin, it's easier to get into all those details. Also, by the way, so I use Dixie mud, and I use the mud I made a little piping bag from a Ziploc bag, and I used it to fill in between, like on the edges, so it looked like I had a nice clean line, as well as in between the trim, so it looks like it's all one piece and it goes together, once you paint it, that is. So anyway, in doing that, I did also put the boss. I did that before I bossed. And the reason that I did is the Dixie mud reactivates with water. So it's nice to create a barrier between that and your paint, especially if you're going to be using like a wet paint. Because what will happen is that Dixie mud will reactivate and you'll get all these little grainy pieces kind of all over your piece. So I'm going to stick my brush in just a tiny bit of the antebellum, and I'm just going to go over the top a little bit, give this a nice highlight, a little bit more there. Just give that a little color. And I'm probably going to end up, well, I know not probably, this is going to have some bling on it. I'm going to also paint in a little bit in here because these drawers sit inside. But I haven't decided if I'm going to go with gold or like copper or like maybe some kind of mix. I don't know. I want to see the transfer, kind of how it looks with this paint color before I really make up my mind there. And by the way, like I said, I stripped this. It is not required that you strip the top of something before you use like a no paint gel stain, the oil-based gel stain, or anything like that. I do because I like my stain on thin. I like it to look, even on a newer, I almost always like my stain to look rustic. I'm almost always going for that look. So that's one reason. Just missed in my small rounds here. And I'm going to go ahead and start bringing some of this, push that drawer in a little bit, some of this together here. And go with a little antebellum. And I'm using the same brush, so I'm really, really mixing these colors together. Let's bring a little kudzu into here. Because what I'm actually going to do, there's a corner of this transfer that I think I'm going to end up running here and here with the peacock feathers on it. So I think I want to bring this lighter color up here and then have this back a little bit darker because of the way I'm running the transfer. So let's go ahead, and then we're going to come back into the antebellum, which I put a little bit much antebellum on there. So I'm going to go back over this area just to kind of highlight some of that, get that antebellum off. And we're going to bring in a little bit more of our blue down here. And what I'm going to do now, because I put too much antebellum on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off. I tend to keep a lot of brushes out because sometimes halfway through, my brush will get so contaminated that I just like to get a new one. That's just the first coat, so I'm not that concerned about it, but that is more antebellum than I want there. Just took a little bit more kudzu in to lighten that up. And let's go ahead. Oh, did I say list? Oh, no. Oh, what are you? I've got my Mister bottle here. Those are also available from Dixie Bow. I'm sure, I know I carry them, but they're not a requirement. So you may want to call your local retailer just to make sure that they have those available. So So under here, I would have a natural shadow. So I'm kind of bringing out some of this cobalt here. Oh, I did it again. I try not to lick my fingers when I'm on a live, but I do that a lot. All right, so it's a bad habit. I just got a little bit of paint up there. I can sand that or wash it off. It doesn't really matter that much. That's why I haven't taped it off. Just gonna get in here a little bit. These drawers don't sit too far in, and you want to keep this very thin when you have drawers that sit in there, because you don't want them scratching the sides or anything like that. You want to make sure they have plenty of room. So we should just get this done when I run out of time. Oh yes, it is water, just plain water in here. Nothing else. And this is just to keep that mister bottle. It's really to keep my paint workable. The chalk paint dries very, very quickly. So you want to keep it workable. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to blend it. Let's go down here. We've got some kudzu that I'm bringing into that antebellum. Really trying to lighten it up there. I'm going to go ahead and get this section up here. So we're going to switch back to our French tip brush, just misting again. And I'm going to go in little circles just to make sure that this gets worked all in. As I'm going in circles, I'm kind of tipping my brush too so that it's hitting different angles to make sure that that all gets nice and covered. You don't want to have to worry about covering in the details on that second coat, because the second coat, you're trying to get the paint in the right places. You want it to blend, have your color in the right places. So I always try to get that coverage and details like this on the first coat. So I just misted my brush with some water, dipped it in the Bunker Hill blue, and just swirling it back into those details. You want to make sure that you kind of look at it from different angles too. It's so easy to miss spots on here. And I tell you what, a lot of times I don't paint this inside section as I'm going, because I just come back at the end, put one coat on with an art brush, one thin coat, and that's it. You know, you just need that. It doesn't need to be coated like everything else. It needs to be thin. And you really just want the eye to take over. And your eye is going to, even if it's just that one coat on the inside of there, you just get a tiny, tiny sneak peek of it. It just blends it all together. So you can't tell, and that'll keep it from kind of scratching up unless you have a really tight fitting drawer, which normally I sand those down if that's the case. And then of course Big Mama's butter. That'll make them slide wonderfully. So we're just coming in here again with some more of the Bunker Hill blue. Some antebellum to lighten at that center. And on this bracket here, I'm not really putting any of the kudzu. So let's go ahead. Let's go some antebellum down here. This is a little bit darker over here than I want. A little Bunker Hill to blend that, because I let that Bunker Hill blue dry. So I'm just bringing that Bunker Hill blue in with some antebellum. And that'll reactivate this down here as well. And that should allow it to blend pretty good. So there we are. That's the first coat. We got about 5 more minutes. Oh, thanks, Beverly. Just putting up clean brushes. And that happens to me all the time, where you miss a little leg or you miss like one little spot and then you go back and see it later. It's your eye just fills it in, so you don't always see right away. So this is our bottom drawer. And then still pretty wet here, but this way we can kind of see how it's going to come out. See kind of which color layout looks best. You guys can probably see this is the mirror back here for it along with the poles. But yeah, actually I think I kind of like that one better here where it's running down the center. I'm not too thrilled with this. But I do love the way that the colors are coming together. And what we've got going on, I think that this is going to complement that Retro Peacock really well, especially with the oranges, the complements to this blue and this antebellum here. I think it's gonna look good. But so first coat next week, like I said, I'll be back here live on Chalk Paint 101 at 6 again. And we'll be putting on the transfer. I will have already done the second coat. And we'll probably be working with some kind of metallics. I'm just not sure what kind yet. So definitely join me next Monday. Also, if you like and follow me on my page, we're going to have live at 5 on Fridays. So I'll be working with all kinds of different techniques and things on my page. Also, if you share this video, if you know anyone who you might think would like this or, or is interested in blending, please share it. And thank you guys so much for hanging out. Stay warm wherever you are. And Happy New Year again. Take care.